Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Satisfactory. I'm AxionEvolved, and last time we did a little bit of aluminum, right? I almost consider this a proof of concept, but you know what? We got bauxite in, we're getting aluminum ingots out, and that's what matters. We also set up this whole train network that goes way out there to get all this bauxite, right? So today, I want to do a couple things. Number one, I want to expand this all out to try to use all of the bauxite we're bringing in on this train line. And also, I want to start processing this, right? I want constant outclad sheets. I want casings. I want all that stuff. And I'm going to be a good factory person, builder. I'm going to do the right thing, and I'm going to utilize blueprints for all of this. So I hope you're excited for that, because we're about to hop right into this. All right, so looking at this again. Now, this is made... I have all of this stuff kind of built in terms of bauxite in, right? That's kind of the limiting factor here. We have tons of water. We have, you know, coal. Coal is going to be an issue, I think, but we'll deal with that when we get to it. So I think what I'm going to do... We need to make... Let's see, we have 4... 200 lines and 150. So what I'm going to do is I'm probably just going to double this up. So we'll have, I think this, yeah, 1, 2, 3. So we'll have 3 more modules to put in. And then I'm going to put the second line. I have this really cool idea where I kind of, I want to build. So how do I explain this vision, right? I want to eventually, and I don't know how well I'm going to be able to do this, right? But I want to build like a vibe, right? Where the trains are almost going in like this really thin, like parts of the base are just really thin, right? So when they're, so make sure the train's not close, right? Okay. So like when you're riding and you're in the base, I want to almost feel like really cramped, kind of like you're just kind of fitting through spaces with the trains, right? So what I had the idea of is that I'm going to build, not on this ground floor, because I don't think we have enough space, because this is what? 1, 2, 3, 4, about 5 tiles wide, and we only have 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, maybe that's a little too close, but I have this really cool idea because we have all this space right here, right? This is what really is driving me. This opening right here, I'm going to put a second set of modules on a platform like right behind this, and I think it'll look really cool when it kind of cascades down, right? So for now though, let's work on getting this guy in here, and we'll kind of go from there with some of the other stuff we have planning. All right, and so with this second module in, you can kind of get the vibe. I really like this setup, right? So visually it looks like just one long kind of complicated factory module, and it kind of is, right? But because we're doing this thing with the bauxite, I have it set up to where you know, it's the lines break and it's getting fed somewhere else, right? So that's kind of how I have it split up. But we are using one continuous water pipe because that seems to work perfectly fine. And so there's, you know, if it's not broke, don't fix it. One thing we will have to contend with here, right? So if we go ahead and look at this guy, we see that that's 120 coal per minute. Now, if we count smokestacks here, I have one, or I guess here we go, modules, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? If we do a little math, 120 times 6 is 720. Now we can carry that on a 780 line, but I don't think our train's even bringing in, I think our train's only bringing in 600, honestly. So that's something we're going to have to maybe supplement eventually. Now, I don't anticipate any of this stuff running at full speed, but you know, we do have some coal in the red forest that it might be worth making some dedicated trains for. You know, we have other train stations, who knows, right? So just something to think about, right? Because we have that coal right there coming from the Blue Crater Lake. We'll kind of go as we see fit, you know. But all of this is only one part of what we need to do today, because we are going to need to go ahead and worry about copper. So This is where I'm going to be a good engineer and probably lose all the power I need to fly. Oh, no, we got some right here. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use blueprints. I want to make at least, I think, 3 total blueprints, right? So this is kind of the start of the pure copper ingot recipe. Now, if we kind of hover over here, you guys might remember this whole thing that I made down here with the copper that's just here in the base, right? And it looks really cool. I really like it. I think it's super, it's got like a lot of character, and it's going to kind of be a cool visual if we're ever, you know, decorating all this like we want to. But that is 3 600 lines. Let's take a look at this pure copper, or here we go, copper ingots. Let's take a look at this guy, right? So this recipe in a refinery takes copper, adds a little water, and what is this? Like a 2 to 5 ratio, right? It takes in 15, gives you 37.5 per minute. So more than doubles it, right? That is a lot. And I want to draw your attention right here, right? 15 per minute. We do a little math. 600 divided by 15. That is 40 refineries. That means to process just one of those nodes, just one, we would need this blueprint 10 times. And to process all of those, we would end up needing 120 refineries. Now 120 refineries, mind you. Hold on, let's get a little closer. Times 37.5. 37.5 times 120 refineries. That is 4,500 copper. Now, trust me, that's a lot, but it also isn't when you consider what else we're going to need copper for down the line, especially with a nuclear. So I'm not going to go and make all of that stuff right now. What I am going to do is make enough copper for the alclad sheets that we're going to be making, right? So that's kind of all we're worried about. And I'll figure out those numbers here in a little bit. But this is, you know, and we got options, right? I could do this, right? 37.5. That's not a nice number, but it is what it is, right? And now 600 divided by 37.5 is 16, right? So it does make it a lot more space efficient. We only need 4 of these. So what is this? 4 times, or I guess 16 times 3. Times 3. So 48. We'd only need 48 refineries, but that's, you know, that's 48 times 3 power shards. So it's like, is it worth 144 power shards to not have to make a lot of refineries? I don't think so. We have space for it. So eventually we'll do it. But for now, I don't think we're going to do it, right? And so this is a pretty simple blueprint. All we're going to end up doing is probably splitting off right here. And again, it's literally just, did that go? No, that didn't hit right. It's literally just copper and water, right? So pretty standard. Everything's lined up, right? And then you know you just hook it up. So not a whole lot there. It's like pretty straightforward. And I'll show you the final product when we do it. But that's kind of the gist of it. And then we'll output the copper on this side. Blah, blah, blah. Like pretty easy, right? So let's kind of get this saved. And then let's fill this out, because this is still the first step in the process. And I kind of want to get this done and show you my vision. And let me tell you, I think it came out pretty well, right? So if I just kind of pan around here, you'll kind of see my vision. And you can maybe get a sense of kind of what I'm trying to do. Like, I want, this comes out damn near to the tracks. I'm going to end up doing something, I don't know what, to kind of make this feel closed in. Because right now it's just kind of, you know, we got some sinks and we got all that, right? But really what I want to do, and you may notice that I have the outputs. So these modules are actually mirrored of each other, right? So I have the input here. Well, I'm going to have the input on, I mean, it's this one right here, this line right here, but it's way back there, right? So they're going to come up through those little towers and feed this way. And then all the output is coming this way. And what I want to do is kind of like take these outputs and do something like this. Do I have any conveyor poles handy? No, I'll make some. No worries. We'll make some. So I want to do something like this. All right, we'll just kind of come up. Can't come up higher than that. And let's say, so for the first 3 modules, let's say we want to do something like this, where we come up and we want to go on, well, let's just say this line. All right, we'll make sure that's an input. So we just take that. We just come in. Just like that. And then all we got to do is feed, create more conveyor poles and feed it through this middle right here, which I think is super cool. And it's going to be a super cool visual when you're doing it, right? And then eventually it'll all output out in this direction. Now, I want all of these to output. So all 4. So this one right here, this line, I'm going to have to get, because these all output at the same level, I'm going to have to get this one, so this one right here, to come out this way and up a little bit. That'll be fine. That won't be an issue. This also won't be an issue, by the way. We're only having to split this because of our belt level. Once you get the Mark 6 belts and you can do 1200, because remember, 2 of these modules makes 1080 aluminum ingots per minute at 100% efficiency. So a 1200 belt can easily handle that. A 780 belt cannot handle that, right? So we're having to give each module, or each set of modules, right? So every 3rd module, every 3 modules needs its own belt for output. So that's just something we're gonna have to work around. Should be pretty easy. So let me go ahead and kind of do that real quick. But man, that's such a good visual. Like, look at that. It's kind of mesmerizing, honestly. But man, how the visual can change when everything is hooked up. I still think it's pretty cool though. I love all the movement that you can see by looking down here. And now we're outputting everything. I have it all just going to a sync for now, because one thing I don't really want to play around with, like, I'm fine with some machines backing up, particularly machines that have only solid items produced, like beltable items. I don't like things with fluids being backed up, especially ones like this, right? Where if one thing is full, then it kind of cascades back, and now this is full, and then the whole system breaks down, right? So like, I don't want these machines kind of holding anything, so I made a provision to go ahead and put some sinks in here so everything can be moving. But this is everything, and you can see, so we're getting water and bauxite from down here, and then we've got the other bauxite coming up through there. Now this water, however, this water is not coming from those water pipes. I decided to just go ahead, and we can kind of see here. Hopefully I don't die. But we're literally just bringing up water from the thing that we tapped in the last episode. From this guy. So, pretty easy. Pretty straightforward. Now, I do need to... I need to deal with a couple issues, right? So, in the last episode, I think we also did the hazmat suit stuff, right? So I want to go ahead and clean all that stuff up in the base, because eventually we're going to need to work up there. And I kind of want to just knock that out in this episode. Something else to deal with. Let me go ahead and show you. It has to do with these guys right here. If you look at this transfer rate, you see that? You see that? 400, 400, 400-ish, right? We're kind of just not getting enough. And I don't think... I think this just needs more time to kind of sort out, but I think even at best, we're only getting 400 per minute with this one train, and that's not enough, right? So one thing I'm going to do is we have this 150 line right here that we're just not using. So what I was thinking about doing is actually utilizing this, splitting it 4 ways, and having it fill in a little bit as kind of like a supplement for the boxes down here. So this last train car will be used to just make sure that these guys like plus up whenever they need to, right? So I think that's a pretty nice way to handle that stuff for now, until we can kind of I don't know if I need to I don't know if I need to put another train on the line. Could be, that would solve the throughput, I imagine. And maybe that's what we'll do, but I don't know. For now, this seems just like a quick fix. So I'll just kind of do that real quick. It should be pretty simple, and then kind of show you what I came up with. And before we go ahead and do all that, I want to just show you how nice and easy it is to run around over here now. We're not getting all messed up. And oh yeah, I did just a little bit. Just a little bit of work over here, decorative wise, because I removed all of the uranium. And this is kind of something I had in mind, right? I will let you guys in on some plans that I'm thinking about. This hole right here is too perfect, because in 1.1, in the 1.1 trailer, there's elevators. And I have, without even knowing it, built a giant elevator shaft that's going to connect all of the floors of my building. I might have to make this hole smaller, but it's going to be perfect, right? So because of that, I want to kind of make things a little bit more accessible, right? So, you know, I just did a little bit of work out here. The idea is that when this is kind of all finished, you can come out here and, you know, there will be some way where it's kind of like scenic in a way where you can kind of enter the base. Maybe there'll be like a big thing right here, that like a big grand entrance of some sort over here. And, you know, you can walk out and you can see some of the stuff we have going on over here. Maybe I'll make some stairs to go down over here. And then if you're out in this direction, like if you're, oh, let's say you're over here. Oh yeah, that's where I put everything, by the way. That's where I put all the uranium, just in that box right there. Oh, hello, train. Perfect timing. But, you know, I kind of tried to dress it up a little bit, right? So I put like these grates over the water. So it's almost, you know, it kind of fits some of the vibe that we have elsewhere. And, you know, when you're out here, and it's obviously like super dangerous, this area. So, I don't know, maybe I'll have like a little armory over here where you can kind of like pick up rifles and stuff. And, you know, just some kind of like grand entrance. And I'll probably have like stairs and catwalks and stuff around here, maybe coming up on the side or something. So there'll just be something. But yeah, I just want to kind of show you what's going on here. It looks pretty cool from down there. You know, get all the floors. And I want to use glass here so you can still see the waterfall. That was kind of a big deal for this. So yeah, so let's go ahead and hop back down to the aluminum area, because we need to kind of start talking about copper and where we're going to start producing the end products. And I think we're going to probably do that floor right there. But before we start kind of going into where all this stuff's going to be built, I got to show you what I made to help me with the building. And again, I've alluded to this, but it's blueprint. So starting with our alclad sheets, right? And I'm trying to be better about this. Eventually, I'll actually like use the directories and fit all that stuff. But I'm trying to be better with my icons. What is actually happening within the blueprint, and then a name that kind of makes sense, right? I'm not perfect, so don't hold me to all that. But this is what we have going on. Again, trying to go vertical, so use some verticality, but also, you know, make it look decent, right? So here's what I got going on for the, this is just straight up, what are we making here? Alclad aluminum sheets, right? So ingots, aluminum ingot, copper ingot, right? So pretty simple. Over here, oh, we ran out of power. Here, I'm just going to grab a power line from over here. You know what? It's fine. We don't need it. So over here, we have the inputs. And I tried to do this in a way where I could have both levels here, right? Oh, man, you know what? I do need some power. We need the power here. We need this. I need to fly. Can I steal power? I'm going to show you two blueprints, so this isn't a waste of time, I guess. Okay, so anyway, so we're going to input here, copper, aluminum, doesn't matter which one goes where. And I wanted to make it, again, have some verticality, because I think that looks good, but also kind of make it look realistic, right? Like I want it to look a little complicated, a little busy. So what I did, you know, I have obviously two floors here, and I'm using these small frame pillars and just this frame floor. I really like that look to kind of separate stuff up here. Now, yeah, it's not going to let me do it. So in order to kind of put this on, here, I'll take this off so you can kind of see. It's kind of hard, right? So you really have to use the trick of pressing H, and that'll kind of allow you to place it down where you need to place it, right? And then you can kind of get over some of those clearance and or uneven ground errors that you have, right? So this is, again, alkyd aluminum sheets, and I believe it said, was I smart on this one? Was that like a good, no. What I need to start doing is marking like the inputs, right? So doing something like, here, let me load this again so that the thing is connected, right? What I did on some of the other blueprints is do something like this, where maybe, here, we do something like that, right? Or, I can even do it right here, actually. Do something like this where I put like a label sign next to what we have coming in, right? And do something like, oh, this is aluminum ingots, right? And we need 180 per minute. Just, just like a little something to kind of set it all like feeling good. And this is what, like 60 per minute or something. What do we actually need? Yeah, 10 times 6. So something like that. And then over here, I can kind of say like, oh yeah. And then over here, we're making alkyd aluminum sheets, and those are 180 per minute, right? Because the idea is like, if down the road I make these saves or these blueprints available for people and they want to use them, I don't want there to be a lot of guesswork about what is coming in, where you need to put stuff, anything like that, right? So having descriptions and signs like this, I think just makes everything easier. And honestly, I'm like really happy with the way this blueprint turned out. It's pretty basic. I could do something like, I don't know, like this maybe. Like if I did this and made this part of the blueprint, if I can kind of, there you go, and just snap this around, I'm willing to bet that I could stack this, Like if I save this, let's see. Let's clear this. And if I want to build that, and this is this one, we'll just kind of slap it down. And I wonder if I do like blueprint mode, if it'll just line right up. Oh, it's just a little bit. No. I bet there's a way though. See, there's like this yellow area. Oh, it's like rotated all crazy. Anyway, I'm sure there's something we could do. So that's the alkyd aluminum sheets though. That's one of the two blueprints. The other blueprint is we want to also make aluminum casings. This one's it's a lot more compact and it's a lot busier, but this is formulated to accept 1080. So one 200 bauxite line set of modules. So 3 of these modules, actually I'm lying, one of these rows, right? So 2 full modules, or I guess 6 full modules, taking 400 bauxite in, can feed this blueprint by itself to make everything we need. And this is kind of what I was talking about. Like this is what I did. I put some labels on here. I put like the inputs, and I really like this blueprint. It's only 12 assemblers, but I just love how it all kind of just like flows and looks, like you could get crazier. I know I've seen a lot of crazy stuff from people. I just like the way this looks, right? So pretty straightforward. We're going to get aluminum ingots in here over here. 1080 per minute, as you can see. Those are going to go split, and it's going to wrap around and do the same thing where it splits up and in and up and in and all that. And all of the outputs will coalesce in the middle here. Well, I guess up here, they'll coalesce on these mergers, run to the back, shoot down, and come out the front here. And boom, you have, that's right, 720 casings per minute. All in one module. So I was pretty happy about that. And really, it's not that big, right? I almost probably, not even probably, I could have fit, well, it's wide. So maybe not a 4x4, but it's not very, you know, deep, I guess. I don't know. It's wide, not deep. And it's pretty tall, but not too tall. So pretty happy about that. So this is what we're going to do for the casings. So all of these blueprints, I worked on them. Some of them on stream, some of them are not. So, you know, if you catch a stream, good job. And they're going to help me make this a lot faster. So let's run down. We need to get our copper going. We need to get these placed down, and we need to get building. So let's go ahead and do that. So as you can see from right above where we are getting this copper, and I really do like this. I think this looks really, it's like an outdoor outpost, which is kind of what I was going for, right? Like a self-contained little outpost here. So we're just coming straight up as we showed in the last episode. And here is the pure copper refinery. Now, I did end up overclocking ever so slightly because of the requirements we needed, right? So we needed 360 copper in, and these were only producing, I want to say 30 per minute or 37.5, right? I think it was. And that was not quite what we wanted. So a little bit overclocking, but I did also utilize the copper texture, the copper finish. So you'll notice like everything having to do with this, the beams where we're getting the power, the refineries themselves, the splitters and the belts, copper finish. And I think it looks really good. And of course we're drawing water from the pressurized well that we have over there. We also have that guy that we can take advantage of in the future. So kind of nice because we have a ton more copper that we can build, right? So water's just coming over, splitting down, and this is kind of how I ended up working it out. It works really well, and I think it looks good. And again, these colors are the closest hex codes that I could find to the actual materials. So if you're interested in getting those colors, it's like a picture from a Reddit post. Let me know, and I can put it in the description or the comments or something. But yeah, so this is all coming out, and it's syncing for now, because I gotta get the other stuff established, the aluminum products. So we're gonna do those on the floor right below where we're producing all the aluminum, just to make things easy. So that's another feature of this base that I'm trying to kind of emphasize, is conveyor lifts going between the floors. I just think that looks really good, and it just makes it look like there's bustling activity, because obviously we have a ton of space in here, and we can, you know, we can go full on 120 refineries if we had to. And also, this is the last of our supplies here, so we are running short. Not as much for this, but if we want to kick off weapons production, we're gonna need a ton of this. So let's get up there and start making this stuff and getting things outputted. So I don't want to waste your guys' time, and I'm gonna show you what I ended up doing, but I wanted to talk about this setup here first. Now this looks complicated, but it shouldn't be that complicated. So what we have going on here, and I might have to adjust it based on how things perform, but we'll kind of see, right? So as I mentioned, we don't have 1200 belts. And as I also mentioned, these things are going to end up taking more than, well, we're producing 1080 per floor here. And that doesn't jive, right? And I also mentioned that I don't want things with fluids to have to back up, because I don't think that's conducive, right? So what I've done is, ultimately we have this guy and this guy where the aluminum ingots are flowing down to the machines, right? But I know that if these things are running at capacity, we're going to have overflow issues. So what I've done is, ultimately I have a merger where two lines meet, right? So if you look, we have this bottom line and the line right above it. They're both going to lifts that merge right here, go to a smart splitter, and go down to production. Over here we have another merger, and it's all getting the overflow ending up into a sink. Now, what else I've done is I put one smart splitter here on this bottom line, because my idea is that if these two things are both going at 500 something per minute, they're not going to be able to merge fast enough. There's going to be some overflow somewhere, right? So I figured if I just put an overflow on one belt, which is what I did here, and I merge that also in here, that should, in theory, keep both lines running. I don't know if that's going to be the case, but it's what I'm trying. And it's essentially what I did here, just a little bit taller, right? So I've got both lines merging down here into a smart splitter, which has overflow. And then one of the lines has another smart splitter with overflow going into a sink so we can continue running everything. So until we have 1,200 belts, that's going to be the best way to do things, I think. And if it starts to back up, then what I would honestly end up doing is just putting another smart splitter on each of the lines and then having those go off and merge onto these mergers so that every single line has an overflow, and then that would do it. So let's actually go see where all the stuff's getting used. So as I mentioned, that stuff's coming just downstairs, and it's running on these belts here where we have this whole setup. And it looks a lot more complicated than it is, but I'll kind of walk you through what's going on here. And you guys saw me go through these modules, so there's not really a whole lot of reason to kind of touch on them specifically, but I'll just kind of show you how it's working, right? So we have, of course, our two aluminum lines here, and we've got our copper coming from way down there, something I showed you. And of course, I have this little floor hole right there to kind of let me get that distance, right? Because I've shown you the floor hole trick, especially places like over here where we're spanning a long distance, right? So floor hole with the copper coming up, that's both of those guys are coming in, splitting lines like I mentioned. So this is one line, this is the other line, and they're both outputting onto this belt here where I'm ultimately going in this big storage thing here with a smart splitter there for the overflow. Looks like we're already full, so we have just alclad sheets for days. The depot is full, and really we have plenty that we can start sending those off for production lines when we need to. Kind of same deal over here. The other aluminum lines coming over, and it's just feeding into the one module like I mentioned, and that's all going around. And just like look at the movement though, man. Look at the way this looks. I absolutely love it. I love having lifts incorporated into the machines. I think they look really good. And I've also used slower lifts so that everything's not just flowing super fast, right? We actually get to see the movement. And all that stuff is outputting and going to the same deal, right? I did the second, so it's not full quite as fast, but you know, it's filling up, it's doing its thing, and eventually it will also be overflowing into the awesome sink. So that's what I did today. I hope it looks cool. I hope, because God, I look at this. This is what I want to see. All this movement, all of this output. It's just, it feels so good to look at. But anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed. I hope you're excited for still what we have to come, because ultimately this is just kind of prepping for nuclear, which is the next big thing that we're going to end up doing. And you know, we got a lot to do before we're ready for that. So anyways, guys, thank you all so much, and we'll see you in the next one.